Here's your daily dose of history. These events happened on April 28th. In 1789, the HMS Bounty is seized in a mutiny led by Fletcher Christian, the master's mate, leaving Captain Bligh and 18 of his supporters adrift on a small boat. The mutineers settle on Pitcairn Island with their Tahitian wives, where their descendants still live today. The island is uninhabited when the 9 mutineers and 18 Tahitians arrive in 1790. They burn the Bounty and remain undiscovered until 28 years later in 1808. By that time, only one of the mutineers, John Adams, is still living, along with 9 Tahitian women and many children. 3 major motion pictures of the mutiny have been produced. In 1935, starring Charles Laughton and Clark Gable, in 1962, starring Trevor Howard and Marlon Brando, and in 1984, starring Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson. In 1945, in the closing days of World War II in Europe, Italian fascist dictator Benito Mussolini and his mistress, Clara Petacci, are killed by Italian partisans who had captured the couple as they tried to flee to Switzerland. Their bodies are hung upside down and put on display in Milan. It is a brutal end for a brutal dictator. It also helps motivate Adolf Hitler 2 days later to give instructions to have his body cremated after his suicide. Hitler does not want to be captured by the Russians, alive or dead. In 1966, the Beatles record the song Eleanor Rigby, an innovative track that features orchestral instruments rather than traditional rock instruments. It is an amazing song, which has the fingerprints of producer George Martin all over it. Paul McCartney is a master at telling a story through song, and this might be his finest example. In 1967, during the Vietnam War, boxing champion Muhammad Ali refuses to be drafted into the U.S. Army and is immediately stripped of his heavyweight title. He is sentenced to 5 years in prison, but he never serves time because his conviction is overturned by the Supreme Court in 1971. In 2021, American astronaut Michael Collins, one of 3 crew members of Apollo 11, dies in Naples, Florida at age 90. Collins piloted the command module orbiting the moon in 1969, while Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon. It is unfortunate and frankly sad that Michael Collins is not as well remembered as Armstrong and Aldrin. His job was certainly no less difficult nor less important. In fact, as command module pilot, Collins had to perform multiple critical maneuvers to make the mission successful. He had to twice dock with the lunar module, once early in the mission and again after Armstrong and Aldrin returned from the lunar surface. He had to precisely slow the craft down to put it into lunar orbit, and then later fire the engines and steer them back out of lunar orbit. He also piloted the command module during the critical re-entry phase. Let's all remember the great Michael Collins. Don't forget to check out Today in History in my Teachers Pay Teachers store. There's a link in the description. Which of these events did you find most interesting? Let me know in the comments. Also, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really does help my channel. And you can get another great Mr. Lewis video here and another one right here. Thanks for watching.